Yes? Okay, so I'm going to move over to questions 2 and 3. Questions 2 and 3. So example 2 says, write the slope-intercept form of an equation of a line that passes through the point 3, 2 and is parallel to the graph of the equation y equals x plus 5. So this is exactly, it's written differently, but this is exactly the same as, like the same type of question as we did last time. So we have to take this equation and we have to find the slope. So find m, because we know that parallel lines have the same slope. So what is the slope of this line? What? 1 over 1. Yeah, or 1. Remember, there's an imaginary 1 right here. So the number that's attached to that is 1. So my slope is 1. So that's what I do first. Okay. Next, I have to find b using the point 3, 2 and the slope 1. And I just write a y equals mx plus b and plug those values in. Okay. So let's see. Y equals m times x plus b. God bless you. Salud. This 3 is an x value. 2 is a y value. So what am I replacing the y with? What am I replacing the y with? A 2. 2 equals, what is my slope? 1 times, what is my x? 3 plus b. Well, that gives me 2 equals 3 plus b. Trying to get b all by itself. So how do I do that? Yeah, I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. So subtract 3. Negative 1 equals b. That's my y-intercept. So now I'm going to use my y-intercept and my slope and write the equation to the parallel line. So the parallel line, remember that's the symbol for parallel line, has the equation y equals, my slope is 1. I can write 1x, but I don't have to. I could just leave it as x. And my y-intercept is negative 1. So y equals 1x minus 1. This is the equation to the parallel line. Okay. Number 3 is very different. Number 3 is very different. I'm going to wait for everyone to get that caught up. Does anyone know why 3 is different than the other 2 that we've done? Yeah, for number 3, instead of finding your slope first we have to solve for y. Okay. So for number 3, the first thing that we're going to have to do is solve for y. So first, solve for y. That means I have to take the equation 8x minus 6y equals negative 24. And all we're doing is finding the slope. Do you see this? All this question is saying is just find the slope of a line that's parallel to this line. So all we have to do is solve for y, and then second, identify b, or m, sorry. Find m. And if we solve for y, we know what m is, right? So how are we going to solve for y? I have 8x minus 6y equals negative 24. How are we going to get y all by itself? What should we do first? Say again. Yeah, we're trying to get y all by itself. Okay, so we can't do anything with this until we move the 8x. So we really have to subtract 8x. And it's not just the 8 that we're taking away, but the 8x. Minus 8x, minus 8x. So when I do that, I have negative 6y equals, so remember when you solve for y, you want the x term to come first. So I'm going to write the negative 8x first, negative 8x minus 24. That's really what I have there. Negative 8x minus 24. Do not combine these two and say it's negative 32. That's not true, right? One of them has a variable and the other one is a constant. Still trying to get y all by itself. Now what do I do? Divide. What am I dividing every single term by?
6.
By what?
Negative 6.
By negative 6. Yeah, everything gets divided by negative 6. Everything is being divided by negative 6. So that gives me y equals, well, negative 8 divided by negative 6, that's going to be a positive. And I can reduce this. Both of these are divisible by 2, right? So this becomes actually 4 over 3. Do you guys see that? So y equals 4/3 x. And a negative divided by a negative is also a positive. And what is 24 divided by 6? It's 4. So this is the equation when I have solved for y. So what is my slope? Zach M, or Zach B, what's my slope? Zach, pick your head up. We're not sleeping, okay? What is my slope? It's 4 over 3. My slope is 4 over 3. And we're done. That's all we needed to do. Find the slope. Now we're going to fill out the bottom half, which is the perpendicular lines portion, okay? We're going to go to the perpendicular lines portion. So I'm going to close the top flap. And again, I'll come around and cut your guys' flaps in a minute. And I'm going to start right here with perpendicular lines. So Austin, you said something when we were talking about parallel lines. You said something about their slopes being opposite. Or maybe that was Hayden. Which one of you guys said something about opposite slopes? Was it you? Okay. So perpendicular lines are lines that form right angles, right? That's what they mean. That means they're forming right angles. So if one line, I said line G, is perpendicular to line H, then the product of their slopes is -1. So let me give you an example. So let's do line G has the equation y equals 4/5 x plus 2. Okay. Y equals 4/5 x plus 2. And line H has the equation y equals -5 over 4 x minus 7. So if these two lines are perpendicular and the symbol for perpendicular is an upside down capital T, that's the symbol for that. It's an upside down capital T. If these two lines are perpendicular, I can take their slopes and multiply them together. That's what product means. And I'll get -1. So what is the slope of line G? The slope of line G is what? It's 4/5. And what is the slope of line H? Yeah, negative 5/4. So if these two lines are perpendicular, I can take these two numbers and multiply them together, and I should get something that equals -1. Well, let's see. 4 times -5 is what? What's 4 times 5? Yeah, 20. So a positive times a negative is a negative. So I get -20 on the top. And 5 times 4 is 20. What is -20 over +20? It's -1. So what does that mean? That means that line, whoops, sorry. It says Ling. Let me fix that. It means that line G is perpendicular to line H. And that's just how we write it. Line G is perpendicular to line H. And we use that symbol, that like upside down capital T. Okay. Line G is perpendicular to line H. Zach, you'll have a better chance of staying awake if you actually pick up your pencil, look at the board, and try to write stuff. Or I can have you come and stand by me. It's your choice. If you get your hand off your face, then you'll probably stay awake better too. So we did parallel and perpendicular lines in semester 1. How many of you guys remember those? Okay. We did some coordinate proofs, like we tried to prove that things were rectangles, right, by having perpendicular lines or parallel lines. Yeah. So we're not doing any coordinate proofs today. I just want to make sure we're kind of just revisiting that whole parallel and perpendicular. Raise your hand if you still need this up. Okay, so I'm going to open the flap to the bottom. And again, I'll come around and cut your guys' when we're all done. So this one says, example number 1, says write the equation of a line that's perpendicular to -2/3 x plus 4 and passes through the point 0, 4. So we're going to do this the exact same way that we did the first ones, right? Except that we just need to identify the perpendicular slope. So I'm going to just write some steps out. So first, we need to find the perpendicular slope. It's not the same. The last one was the parallel slope, and that was the same. And then second, we're going to solve to find B. Those are the two things that we're going to do. So if I look at this equation right here, what is my slope? Well, my slope is -2/3. What did you notice about the slopes of the lines on the front page? What did you notice about those slopes? What can we say about these two lines? Their slopes are what? One's positive and one's what? Negative. And what else can we say? What did we do to the fraction? What is that called when we flip the fraction upside down? Yeah, they're reciprocals of each other, right? So what is the opposite of a negative? A positive. And what is the reciprocal of 2/3? So my perpendicular slope, the slope that I'm going to use for the perpendicular equation, has to be 3/2. Okay, it has to be 3/2. What point are we using? What ordered pair are we using? Yeah, so we're going to use the ordered pair 0, 4. That represents the x and the y, and we're going to plug it into y equals m times x plus b. Okay. So Peyton, what number is representing, what number am I going to substitute in? Excuse me. What number am I going to substitute in for y? Look at the ordered pair. Yeah, 4. Do you guys see that we're just taking the ordered pair and the slope? We're just plugging it in. So 4 comes from the ordered pair equals, what is my slope? So 3 over 2 times what is my x? 0 plus b. Okay. So let's simplify that. That means that 4 equals, what is 3 over 2 times 0? It's 0. So 4 equals 0 plus b. So what is the value of b? B equals 4. So I'm going to use this value of b and this value for my slope, and I'm going to write the equation of a perpendicular line. So let's see, my perpendicular line. So the perpendicular line has the equation. I'm going to start with y. Y equals, what slope am I using? Say again. 3 over 2, or 3 halves, x. And what is my y-intercept? Plus 4. Okay. I want to graph these just so you can see what they look like. I want to graph these so you can see what they look like. So we're going to graph the first equation, the one that was given to us up at the top. So the equation from the top is, I just have to slide that up a little bit. The equation from the top is y equals negative 2 over 3x plus 4. So where am I going to begin for this graph? Where do I begin? Positive 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And my slope is negative 2 over 3. That means I go down 2 and to the right 3. And I'm going to do that again. Down 2 and to the right 3. And I could even go up 2 and to the left 1, 2, 3. So I have 4 points that I am going to connect. And I'm going to write the equation y equals negative 2/3 x plus 4. So now I'm going to graph this line. Where am I going to begin? Yeah, I begin at positive 4. And this one has a slope of 3 halves, or up 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2. I could also go down 1, 2, 3 and to the left 1, 2. Down 1, 2, 3 and to the left 1, 2. Down 1, 2, 3 and to the left 1, 2. So this is the line y equals 3 halves x plus 4. And these two lines are perpendicular, which means right here is what kind of an angle? A right angle. Yeah, right there we have a right angle. So I'd say the only thing that's tricky about perpendicular lines is just making sure that you find the opposite, like finding the perpendicular slope first. You want that opposite reciprocal, opposite reciprocal. So let's do example number 2 and example number 3, but I'm going to wait for everyone to finish this one. So it looks like some of you are still graphing. Okay, we all good? All right, so number 2 and number 3. So number 2 says, write the equation of the line that is perpendicular to the graph of y equals 1/2 x plus 6, and that who has the y-intercept of 0, negative 2. So this is already telling me what b is. This tells me that b is what? Yeah, just like here we had the ordered pair 0, 4, and our y-intercept was 4. This is telling me that my y-intercept is negative 2. So all I have to do is find the slope from the original equation and then find the perpendicular of that. So what is my slope of the given equation? Not x, just 1/2. Watch for that, okay, bud? So my slope is 1/2. So what is the opposite? Opposite means change the sign. Reciprocal. What is it? -2/1. And I'm just going to write that as -2. Opposite reciprocal. So I'm using this slope and this y-intercept. Someone tell me what the equation is to the perpendicular line. Well, it starts off with y equals. Yeah, y equals -2x minus 2. That's exactly correct. Remember that opposite is the change of the sign. Reciprocal, I'm going to write flip. Maybe that'll help you. Opposite means you change the sign, and reciprocal means that you flip. All right, Zach B., I'm going to have you come stand next to me. Last time I'm going to ask you, okay? Example number 3. Find the slope of a line that's perpendicular to the line whose equation is so perpendicular to this line right here. So all we're trying to do is find the slope. We just need to figure out what the perpendicular slope is. So first, we need to solve for y. And then second, we need to find the slope of the original equation. And third, turn that slope into a perpendicular slope. That is what we're doing. Okay. So we have to solve for y. I have 18x plus 3y equals 81. I'm trying to get y all by itself. Yes, subtract 18x from both sides. Good job. So 3y equals, remember I want the x term first, negative 18x. And there's no sign in front of that 81, so I know it's positive, plus 81. Yeah, divide everything by the number attached to the y term, which is a 3. We're dividing everything by 3. So y equals, let's see, negative 18 divided by 3 is negative 6x. And 81, positive 81 divided by 3 is 27. So what is the slope of this equation? Yeah, the slope of this equation is negative 6. And I'm going to write it like this, negative 6/1. So what is the, do you see that? It's negative 6. So what is the perpendicular slope? Well, I'm looking for the opposite sign. What's the opposite of a negative? A positive. And what's the reciprocal of 6/1? Perpendicular slope. What do you think? Do you guys feel okay about that? Okay.